is alive, and I don't know how many people will actually join the live here, but I know that there are some folks over on another platform who might miss this live because I wasn't able to advertise it because I'm having to do some things on the fly because I'm out of town for continuing education. I know, like, person as old as me should be educated by now, right? But anyways, I'm going to wander around. We're going to explore this cemetery a little bit, and I'm going to tell you about the first serial killer in Knoxville. Okay, and how it was unsolved, and all the things that went on, and how it impacted Knoxville, because it did, and how that serial killer got away, even though we know who it was. So, all right, I'm going to flip you around here. Oh, I say I am. There we go. All right, so here is the old cemetery that we're going to explore, and y'all are going to hear a beep because I just need to make sure my car is locked. There we go. Safety first. And we're going to wander around a little bit. So, as promised, I am going to tell you a story about the first serial killer ever in Knoxville and about all the details. So, our story comes from 1919, and it actually does come from Knox County. And what we had is we had a community that was very, very, sorry, that text threw me off. But we had a community that was very trusting. And back then, we didn't have air conditioning like we do today. So it was not uncommon that on the really hot summer days, that they would actually leave their porch doors or their doors open and just latch the screen door. And that's what happened on this first encounter that um, in the summer of 1919. Look at these, y'all. On that night, what happened is that the lady, the first lady, and I believe her name was Birdie, the first lady actually, um, guys, I'm so sorry. I've gotten knocked off because I have run, and I'm going to get better at this, I swear. So, what happened is that the first lady, she went to bed. It was hot. She latched that screen door, left the other door open, and went to bed. Well, she got into sleep, and all of a sudden, she was awakened by a man coming in and putting a flashlight directly on her. Well, putting a flashlight directly on me would definitely startle me. Look at this. This is really nice. Elizabeth mural, 1807 to 1840. I believe that's a 2. Look at the beautiful, beautiful wreath up there. So as she is getting her wits about her, a man jumps on top of her. And some unfortunate things happen, and I think you guys can use your imagination about that. Look at this one that's laying down, guys. The angel. This is May Newell, 1882 to 1884. Look at that. That is so, so beautiful. Um, and she decides that, nope, that's not going to happen. Those unfortunate things, they are not happening. She is not letting that happen, and she is going to fight back. And she starts to fight back. Um, Only it doesn't scare this person off. It does not. Now, there are other people in the home at this time, and they're hearing a little rustling, but they're not thinking a lot about it because, people get up in the middle of the night. Um, while they're hearing this rustling, she is fighting for her life. And he actually overtakes her and he unalives her. Okay. Um, and another one of the ladies in the house sees a gentleman in shadowy figure come out and go quickly leave the house. Well, she didn't think a lot about it until a little bit later. She goes in to talk to that family member and discovers that she's dead. Um, in that process, the police then show up and they're asking her, like, well, who did this? What did he look like? What was going on? And with that, the family is suddenly, for what they thought was just, okay, maybe she had a suitor over, or they weren't quite sure what was going on, but, they didn't expect that for sure. They're now put on the spot. What did he look like? I wasn't really paying that much attention. What did he have on? And oh my gosh, Like, what time was this? And I think like any of us would be. And the and what happened next was that they gave a description of a dark complected gentleman, about, yeah, probably around 6 feet, I believe, is what he was, and that he had they saw him exit, and that's all they knew. And that was true. That was all they knew, was that he exited. They didn't really see him come in. He didn't disturb anybody else's bedroom. He didn't even go after anybody else. So, they're left with this very vague description. So they start looking around the community. They start asking some questions. About this time, there was another gentleman, and he was a politician. He was an African American politician. He was doing quite well for himself, but he was creating some waves. We're talking about 1919. So we haven't hit civil rights yet at any point in this. And we're talking about some folks who are not real thrilled that we have this going on, right? What happened at that point is that they latched onto him. For some reason, he was just the choice candidate. I think maybe convenience was a factor in this. We won't wander out through this part because the grass is very tall here. Um, but convenience. He was just the convenient target. He was somebody they wanted to get rid of. And I hate to say that. And typically, I don't believe when people say those kind of things. But in this scenario, I really think that was the case. When they arrested him in 1919, he went into jail. They had to actually protect him because a lot of people were really unhappy and wanted to do some really mean things to him, because they believed, like, y'all, we come across this all the time nowadays still. People have not changed that much, where it's not, innocent until proven guilty. It is guilty until proven innocent. And that's what was going on. So he went through trial, and the trials went all the way through 2021. He ended up in the penitentiary in Nashville. He stayed in jail the entire time. Okay. Um, in jail, while he's in jail, everything is continuing to go. It is just continuing. There are now more murders that are happening. There are more, oh, sorry, y'all. There are more murders. There are more rapes. And there are also now gentlemen that are getting murdered. So this person has an MO, and the longer it goes, the more clear that MO is, which is that they wait. This man waits. He waits until a hot night. He waits until the screen door is open. And every time he enters with a flashlight, they wake up with this flashlight in their face. This is not a good scenario for folks. What is found also is that if you had a husband at home and he is at home, and you fight back and he fights back, you're both going to die. If you just allow this horrible atrocity to happen, you're going to survive. And this was truly how he worked all this time. So this is now going on, 1919 to 1921. We've got 2 years where these murders are still continuing to happen. Now we have this politician. He is now in he's now in the penitentiary. There's no way he's committing these, and yet these things are still happening. And his friends and even community members who might have first believed that, you know, he was responsible, they're all going, excuse me, wait a minute, no, that can't be the case, right? And we know it can't be the case. But they've already fingered him. It's already happened, and the government officials are even more invested. And they're more invested because after the killing of the young lady in 1919, a race riot happened in Knoxville. When that happened, they now have something they have to defend, which is not good, because it so they have to entrench just that much farther, and they have to make sure. This is a white bronze monument, y'all. Look at this. So we're going through this now. He is, oh dear.